Good afternoon and welcome to the therapy stand. For the dates in it, we reckoned you needed two therapists. So you've got Dr. J times two in the house today. What a horror show at Old Trafford. To say the performance was toothless is probably a gross understatement. I know Jordan and I are going to get deep into it today, but clearly, guys, we have a manager at the helm of this club. I said it a few shows back that it was akin to giving the toddler keys to Ferrari, giving that gentleman a 3-year contract after the debacle that was Villarreal. And here we are today, losing at home to Villa. Now, I want to predicate my comments very simply. I've got no issue with losing. You know, you win and lose in sport on any given Sunday, to quote American football term, but it's the manner in which you lose I've issue with. Jordan, I don't know about you, but I thought Villa today, they just, from the first whistle, they just looked to me to be more up for the fight from the first whistle. Obviously, we're going to go deep into that. And secondly, we have arguably, well, not arguably, he is the greatest goal scorer of all time, because I know Pele has scored a lot of goals in friendly matches that he has included in his record. We've got the greatest goal scorer of all time for us. And we didn't, for me, Jordan, you can correct me, create one clean-cut chance today for Ronaldo. And that is absolutely unforgivable. Jordan, the floor is yours, my friend.
Look, if Ollie's at the wheel, whatever he's driving has just been involved in a 5-car pileup. He's a write-off for me. I've been saying it for a while. Whether he goes now, he goes at the end of the season. He went after the Europa League game, the Europa League final. He is not the man. He is not that guy. And we can keep saying that he hasn't been backed. We haven't invested in the team correctly. That team last year that finished second and got to a European final, players were brought in, world-class caliber players. Ronaldo, one of the best to ever do it. Varane won it all. Sancho didn't even get a look in today, Sancho. Ronaldo, like a man lost, looked like a scarecrow, just stood out on his own at top, nothing feeding him. And he continues to play those two jelly bean men in the midfield that show a complete lack of creativity. So the same problems that we had last season, we're going to have again this season. It hasn't been addressed. And I was saying this the other day. He is incapable of making a tactical substitution that affects the game. I don't want to hear about the other day how he brought Lingard on and then Lingard scored a goal. That is just swapping a player for a player. That is not influencing the game. And this is what people don't understand. Like you can make substitutions man for man, but can you change the game? He can't. He's incapable of it. And Mark said it, you know, at the end of last season, if he keeps playing McFred, it's on his head. Well, it's on his head. If he loves the club, if he really well and truly loves the club, he should grab his coat and go, because he should know in his own heart that he's out of his depth.
Yeah, that's a great point that you just made there. And to develop it, I said last season that if he continued with the Lindelof and Maguire partnership, I'm quoting myself back here, it would be the rock that he would perish on. Now, I know Maguire, to his credit, the latter in the last season, before his injury, was playing quite well. But he was given Varane. He was given a Rolls Royce at centre-back to partner Maguire. Maguire today, we'll go into it later on in the show, I personally think he was great. But even with a Rolls Royce beside the England captain, we are still playing the busted sofa in midfield. I said in our group chat today, when we saw the team, that all his team selections are as predictable as a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson movie. It is the exact same Groundhog Day formation and philosophy that we've seen since Ole got the job on a permanent basis. The phrase that we've all used, we've used pragmatic, we've used risk adverse, and that's just us being nice, Jordan, using those terms. He basically doesn't have a pair of fucking balls between his legs. Quite simply, you said today, like bringing on. You went back to the last game, bringing on Lingard. And I know Matic looked it through ball in the last game. Lingard got that worthy goal, but then Lingard then on during the week was as greedy as a 3-year-old at a birthday party, stuff in his face, having a shot every time he could from 30 yards. And today, like, we all love Mason Greenwood, and we've never say a bad word against Mason Greenwood. But today, for me, Mason Greenwood was that greedy 3-year-old child at the birthday party. There were so many times that he ran down blind alleys, was shooting from angles that I just felt, you're not going to score, mate. Like, I hear today, Jordan, I'm looking here, I have six pages of notes, and apart from David De Gea's saves and Varane's tackling, I can't find positives today. Like, to take you back here, Jordan, 70th minute, Greenwood is on a 1v1. Martinez comes out near the angle, and Martinez is a top-class goalkeeper. I don't care what anybody says. Bruno is square, screaming for the ball. Let's be fair, Bruno is probably the most vociferous player we have on the pitch. So Bruno is screaming for the ball with Gilde's chance. I'm sorry, Mason, but pass the goddamn ball to Bruno. And that's just one element that I picked out today from Greenwood's play. Like, yeah. I know I don't want to go in on a player who's 19. Maybe I am, but I just felt today maybe the message would have been, Mason, yeah, we love you, mate. You're a generation talent. Today I felt Mason Greenwood was trying too hard and maybe playing for himself a little bit.
But yeah, I can't throw any shade at Greenwood. He's 19 and he will have those games. But again, it comes back to the manager. Take him off, put your arm around him and say, look, it's not your day today. You'll learn from this and take that. We've got options on the bench and put someone else on. We talk about Ollie being out of his depth. He was out of his depth. He was out of his depth at Cardiff. We've put him into the biggest club in the world because he's a legend. Just be a legend. Just be a legend. That's enough for me. Put a manager in there that can make the changes to affect games. He really can't do it, Jay. We keep waiting for these moments of brilliance. And if in games like last season, we would have it, those moments of brilliance are not happening. And I tell you something, if we play the way we play today, we'll lose again on Wednesday to Villarreal. And I'll be 3 in a week. And then where does he go?
Yeah, I think if we even get a draw against Villarreal during the week, cue the social media meltdown, because the fan base will lose their shit. Now, again, you will have certain fans, and look to them, that no matter what the result, they'll view the game on one level, and it's clearly through very rose-tinted spectacles, and it'll be, oh, it's a loss, we move on, there's 4 games left in the Champions League going forward, we can still get it back. I'm sorry, but that's just, Jordan, for me, indicative of how far the standards of his club have dropped over the last couple of seasons. Like, I would argue, Jordan, and come back at me by all means, if Jose Mourinho was putting out these performances with the players at his disposal, the fans would not stand for it. But I'm sick to death that Solskjaer gets a free pass week in, week out, because yes, he's a club legend, scored arguably the most important goal in the history of the club. Arguably, that's open for discussion. But based on that, he gets a free pass. And back to what you said, he wasn't good enough to be manager of Cardiff. They got relegated. Molde in Norway, I've been in Norway, lovely country, but it's a pub league up in Norway. Let's be fair. So that is his background. And he said, and he's gone on record numerous times, Jordan, he said, he doesn't do the coaching. Okay, fair enough. He's been lauded for his man management, but yet he has been, for me, his treatment of Van de Beek has been a gross dereliction of duty in any business. Like, you have an asset of what, 35 million pounds on your hand, and you have been incompetent in using that asset. Like, questions have to be asked. So I think another problem as well, Jordan, is, and Mark Ober said it on the show a few months back, that, there's nobody above Ole in a football sense that on a Monday morning will call Solskjaer in the office and say, listen, Ole, we've given you all this money, mate. Why the fuck are you still playing McFred? What's that about?
Yeah, no, I agree. There isn't anyone, but this is what I'm saying. He needs to look at himself. He's out of his depth. He'll know he's out of his depth. They're not going to sack him. The board cares about finishing top 4, getting that Champions League money. He's got to want better for the club than what he can offer. So just be a legend. Sit back. Go and be a club ambassador. Go and make fucking speeches out in South Asia for the club or whatever. Tour the world for Man United. But in terms of the hustle and bustle on that touchline, he is not that guy. And you're saying about Mourinho, these performances under Mourinho, he would have been gone a long time ago. But with this squad, Mourinho would have achieved more. Yeah,
he would. Like, cast your mind back. after the Villarreal game, we all did an in-depth analysis on a show about where the club was going under Solskjaer. And I'm now patting you in the back and patting myself in the back. We were the only two individuals on the panel that said, now I'm paraphrasing, it was last May, that a ceiling has been reached. He's got us to a point, but we need to bring in a manager that can bring us to winning titles. And I espoused on that show the virtues of Conte, and the other individuals on the show, I won't call anybody out, were scoffing at getting in Conte. Like, could the football that Conte would play with us be any worse than what Solskjaer plays? No, I don't believe so. However, a man like Conte would get the best out of those players, and Solskjaer simply isn't capable of doing it. Or is he so scared? I think, it goes to fear factor for me. It's fear factor. He's so scared of losing matches that he still persists with McFred in the midfield, and as I said at the start of the show, to protect the England captain and a World Cup winner, yet we still play McFred in the pivot. Like,
do you know what? The ironic thing? The ironic thing about that is you're right. He is scared, and he does set us up not to lose. So he puts McFred in there, but we're losing matches. We're still losing matches. So make changes. What is he watching? Because the whole world can sit there and see what needs to be done. Other than Ollie, I bump into fans in the street. And I get, obviously, banter, talking about United, whatever. And they're like, oh, we don't want to hear any excuses. The squad you've got, you've just signed Ronaldo. You should be winning this. You should be winning that. We ain't winning anything with Ollie in charge. Nothing. We couldn't win a coin toss with Ollie in charge. It's pathetic. It's pathetic.
The super chats here, I think we should read them out, give everyone their voice. Meberton Richards says, how do you waste Cristiano Ronaldo? It was Martial. It would be Ollie's fault. Fair point. And this is what we are, United. 2 years of consistency, unacceptable. We are Politics FC. We have a Galactico attacking team. Now the spotlight is on Ole. With or without a CDM, it's sink or swim. And I agree. I totally agree. Like, some members of the fan base are still giving Solskjaer a free pass because we didn't get the lauded CDM. But no manager in world football gets every single player that they want for the perfect 11. It doesn't happen. You make the best of the sum of the parts. And that's, be it in business or in sport, it's called management. Our manager clearly is not up to the task. And that, for me, like, how do I put this? Like, people say, oh, Jay, you're harsh. You go in on players, you go in the manager. Yeah, I do. But Jordan, same as yourself, we also give praise to players. And when Solskjaer has made the rare good decision, Jordan, you were one of the first people to compliment him. But the compliments over the last 3 seasons, certainly they're down here. But the criticism now, it's rising by the game, Jordan.
Yeah. It really is. And we said this, like you said, Jay, we said it in May, we said it before May. I think when I joined the channel back in March, I was asked the question of, where I stood on Ollie, and we could see it then. And it was at that point, amongst the fan base, you were kind of looked down upon if you said that, you didn't think Ollie was the right man. But now those people are coming around. Those people now are the same people tweeting, going, actually, do you know what? You're right. He isn't that guy. He really isn't. And how much time are we supposed to give this guy? Like, it's a results-based industry. We were very lucky last season in certain games where we were going down, and we become a second half team, and it was always kind of, don't worry, someone will do something. There'll be a moment of brilliance, and we'll come back. But those moments of brilliance naturally start to run out. And that is what we're seeing. We have to lean on the manager sometimes to make decisions in games. And I'm telling you, I have not once seen him tactically adjust the game, and then we've gone on to win it. Yes, he's swapped players, and those players have come off the bench and maybe scored a goal. That is not a tactical thing. If you swap a right winger for another right winger, that is not a tactical thing. That is just a change of personnel.
Yeah. How would I put this in an analogy here? I think the team under his tenure thus far, from my read of it, like, we've all had that friend that isn't the best to look at, isn't the most charismatic or confident. But every so often, on a night out, he pulls this amazing looking woman because he has that one moment of brilliance or a charity or whatever you want to call it, and he gets the moments, and that's what we are, Jordan. You're spot on, my friend. We are moments, and today, unfortunately for us, we didn't create chances for Ronaldo to surprise with that moment. And I saw on Twitter some of the fans were having a bit of a go at Bruno for missing a penalty. I'm sorry, you're at home on from a packed Old Trafford against Aston Villa. Now, Aston Villa, to be fair, deserved their win, and all credit to them. We didn't deserve a point. But it shouldn't come down to a last-second penalty from Bruno to rescue a point at home to Aston Villa. It shouldn't come to that. So we didn't deserve a point today for me.
Yeah, no, we didn't. With respect to Villa, that ain't a good Villa team. They were a better Villa team last season. If we can't beat these kinds of teams, then where does that leave us? Our aspirations of winning the Premier League, winning the Champions League, they're out the window. And then the attitude in the Carabao Cup, it came across somebody like, oh, well, the boys had to go. It doesn't matter. It's not really like the trophy, we want to really go for. We want to go for the big ones. Hang about. We ain't won anything under him. He hasn't won a trophy himself. The guy's got more relegations than silverware. You should be trying to win any trophy you can get your hands on.
Yeah, Jordan, on that point, and I raised it on the show on Thursday night. My snapshot from that game was the last 2 or 3 minutes, and Ole is on the sideline with Moisey, and they're having the crack and banter and the laugh. You are 1-0 down at home, and I don't care if it's a preseason game, Carabao Cup, or what it is. You're at home. You are Manchester United. By all means, after the game, go and have a bottle of wine with the other manager or whatever you do. But in full view, the world is watching, Solskjaer, and you are having banter with the opposition. That is completely and utterly unacceptable for me, Jordan. And that's a snapshot of the mentality of Solskjaer. You think, I said it in the show, if you're a player and you glance over, you see that, I think, well, he can't be arsed. I'm not arsed. Because the players on Wednesday night, they weren't arsed for me.
No, they weren't. And you're right. So again, it all comes from the top. The players look over to the touch time and they see Ollie sat with his leg on, his leg on his knee, just sort of casually sat in the stands. No, what's the word?
Urgency.
No urgency. Yeah, no urgency. Yeah, no spark about him. But also, it's the manager in the opposition box. They're glancing across, looking Ollie. There's no respect there. Nobody looks at him and sees any kind of fear. This whole thing about the penalties that we've been dug out about, that is Klopp playing Fergie-style mind games, and it's worked. It's worked. And Ollie finally decided to have a pop back. That was the most timid pop back at Klopp I've ever witnessed. Have a bit about you and call him out. Name him and call him out. Dig him out. He just isn't the guy. We're the biggest club in the world, and we've got a manager in charge that I wouldn't trust to manage a five-a-side team. It's got to change, Jay. Has to change.
I would say that Solskjaer as a manager of his club is as useful as a chocolate fire guard. Yeah. Doomed to melt. Super chats here from Jerome T. Green. Very good point. Good man management, but treats a Dutch international like can't kick a ball. Absolutely disgusting. I think there's some more chats here. I'm actually reading these on my phone, guys, so bear with me. Robin says, don't play well enough to win anything under Ole. Agreed. Zidane would get the best out of these players from Lee. And Milton Richards again. Oh, yeah, I've read that one. And there's one left here that I haven't got to. Some man-child, he says, is it just me that finds it a bit lazy to only blame the manager when the players were so poor? I think it's both. Well, Jordan and I, we have blamed the players. We have called out players time and time again. But, Solskjaer he picks the 11. He doesn't train them or coach them, but he picks them. He's given the pre-match team talk, and he's given the halftime talk. And as Jordan rightly pointed out, he's the man on the sideline, and his body language just displays, yeah, I'm here. You know what it's like? It's a bit kind of Alan Partridge body language for me. It's blasé, it's bland, it's nothing.
Yeah, this is the thing. He talks about, people say the people that are Ollie in say he hasn't been backed and whatnot. He has been backed. You could have the world's best 11. There will be days where certain players have bad games. You have to make changes. He does not make changes. Well, what minute was it he brought Cavani on? Like 80 something, 82nd minute or something.
And then left on Fred. The best thing Fred did the entire game was lie on his ass behind the wall in the first half. That was the best thing he did the whole game. Fred, his form, at the moment, he is an abomination of a player. Yet he's picked week in, week out.
Yeah.
And I know we're not going to go over the dynasty again, but it's mind blowing.
He's not playing well. He's not playing well. And then you look at someone like Sancho, who's new to the club and coming back to the league. He's played a couple of games and has been dropped. Why hasn't Fred been dropped? Because if Van der Beek or Sancho gets the amount of games to get up to speed in the league as someone like Fred has, I guarantee you we will be seeing much, much, much better performances. But for some reason, he keeps relying on Fred, and now McTominay's coming back in. And people keep going on, but he didn't get a CDM. He didn't get a CDM. Wake up and smell the Kenko. He didn't ask for a CDM. He asked for a right winger. He got a right winger. He asked for a centre-back. He got a centre-back. The Ronaldo deal wasn't a deal that we wanted to do. We ended up having to do that deal. So a CDM was not on his priority. So it's on the manager. We all could see last season we needed a CDM. He didn't make the decision to go and ask the board for that. People keep making excuses for him. Or, he hasn't got the CDM, or Van der Beek wasn't his player. Listen, it all falls with the manager. Live by the sword, die by it. All he needs to get his coat, he needs to leave. I've had enough of it.
Jordan, listen, I couldn't have said it better. You successfully and succinctly summed up SOLSKJAER. He could have, if he wanted a CDM, he could have got one, but he prioritized a right winger. And this is no disrespect to Jadon Sancho whatsoever. I think in the fullness of time, Jadon Sancho will be a United great in the fullness of time. But right now, we have an embarrassment of riches in the forward line. Yet, in midfield, we are paupers in that midfield. But our manager still picks the bus of sofa. That is McFred, because he did not go to the board and say, look at Sancho fell through last summer. Lovely. I don't want him this year, but I got to plug that hole in the midfield. Look, if you look right, if you go through the spine of a team, goalkeeper, centre back, CDM, cam, centre forward. We have world class in all those spots. Ronaldo, Fernandes, Varane, De Gea in that spine. But right in the middle of that spine, the gel that's supposed to put the entire spine together, what do we have? There's no gel there. It's broken, Jordan, for me. And that is on the manager, Jordan. You're correct. Because the manager did not put a CDM on his shopping list. And that is on him solely. So I am done with this manager. Done.
Yeah, and the thing is, Jay, it doesn't stop for me, mate. We watch these games. I come on here. We talk to the fans. I talk to the fans on Instagram Live or whatever. But it's 24/7, Jay. I see people out when I'm working or whatever. I get absolute pelters all the time because of our manager. They laugh. Other fans are Ollie in. They're Ollie in, and that says everything that we need to know about where we're at. It's embarrassing, Jay. We could sign a CDM, but ultimately that CDM is going to have bad days and going to need to be changed. If he sets a game up and he wants to play McFred to start solid, no problem. I don't have an issue with it. I said at the beginning of the season, there will be McFred games. There will be games with Van der Beek and a Matic, or a Pogba and a Matic. There's games that need to change. In Ollie's blinkered vision, every game's a McFred game. How is that right?
Well, clearly, look, it's the old adage, the Einstein quote, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. And for me, Jordan, that is what our manager has been doing for the last 2 seasons. And the outcome that has been achieved is nothing. Because what have we won? Nothing. So that for me is insanity. And Jordan, we can go on and on about he should have, could have, would have played a Matic or Van de Beek. But quite simply, the man is out of his depth and is incompetent and isn't capable of doing it, Jordan. It's very simple.
Yeah, no, he really isn't. He really isn't. And I'm looking at some of the comments, glancing out, and the tide's changed. I think there really isn't many people in those comments that are backing Ollie now. I think we can see what it is. I'm really fearful for Villarreal on Wednesday night because they are very well set up, very compact team, very good in midfield. If he sets us up like he did today, our backs will be against the wall in the Champions League after game 2.
A comment here, Lindy St. Clair, and you're going to love this. Whenever Man U loses a match, 2 persons get the blame: Martial and Ole. Thanks, Lindy. But we call a spade here in the show. If you don't want critical analysis, go and watch MUTV. Sorry about that, but that's just what you're going to get here. You're going to get critical analysis. Gordon Murray says, as soon as Ronaldo signed, I thought Ole had to go, or we waste Ronaldo and the other great players we have. Spot on, Gordon. I couldn't agree more, mate. And Alan says, Ole isn't good enough to manage the likes of Ronaldo, Bruno, Pogba, Varane, to name a few. He's learning on the job. How is he not anyone seeing this? We are seeing this, my friend. But the media don't want to know. We should have tried Tuchel when we had the chance. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Do you know what? I look at the Tuchel thing, and I looked at him at PSG, and I didn't really think a lot about him. He's managing the French Harlem Globetrotters, and their mission was to win the Champions League. He couldn't win the Champions League with them. They walked their own league, and I didn't think a lot of him. He has gone to Chelsea, and I know they lost today, so people will go, "Oh, he lost to Man City today," but he's won the Champions League with them, and you can just see that he's switched on. And he's got something about him. There are managers out there that are not obvious managers, not big name managers with massive reputations and whatnot, like we've had in the past with a Mourinho. There's good managers out there that will look at our squad and get a lot more out of them, so much more.
Yeah, if you look at Tuchel and the pundits in the UK will almost come up with this and make excuse for a manager. Oh, he's has to embed his philosophy and his tactics. That the players are adapting. Blah blah blah. Tuchel, I should say, completely obliterated that point, because the first thing he did was he made Chelsea hard to beat. The first 2 or 3 weeks, they became solid at the back. And then he started doing very simply, he put the round pegs in the round holes. Like, football is a very simple game. There's a guy called Johnny Giles in Ireland. He played for Leeds and he played for Man United. And he always said that football is a very simple game. When fit, you put the best players in their best positions and you let them play. And now I know that's a very simplistic view, but when you break it down, it makes total sense. And our manager is not putting the best players in their best positions for me.
Yeah, I'm just sat here now. I'm getting absolute pelters from my whole family, random Villa fans. It's a mad world out here. I still got West Ham fans that are throwing shade at me. Like, I can't handle it.
West Ham fans that are throwing shades at my friend Jordan here. Go and blow some bubbles, lads, because that's all you're good for.
They just said we're not just blowing bubbles, we're still blowing 3 points. Jay, he's destroyed my weekend, mate. My weekend's done. It's done.
Look, tonight, okay, on a positive note, tonight, are you DJing tonight? On a positive note.
Yes,
you are. So you're going to go on front of that show with all your energy, all your charisma, and you were going to rock that crowd, my friend.
I'm only playing the Death March. That's all I'm playing in honor of Ollie walking out of Old Trafford. That's the only thing I'm playing tonight on repeat.
Oh my God. Well, look, this is over. I gotta go training, and then I'm watching AJ tonight.
Yeah, wicked. Me too.
Yeah, wicked.
Ollie,
I know we're supposed to discuss football, but we're so pissed off and annoyed with today's lackluster, toothless display that we're already pivoting to what are we doing tonight, because our weekend could be ruined otherwise.
You know, I'm so angry, and then I think to myself, come on, George, it's just football. But it's not just football, it's everything. This is my life. This is what, like, one of the most important things to me. And I've got a guy in charge that is out of his depth. Like, just someone somewhere needs to make a decision and just relieve him of the pressure, because it's not good for him. Oh, like, man, Jay, I'm having a breakdown here on camera.
Like Jordan, like Solskjaer, look, I would sit down and I'd love to have a drink with the man. I would, because I'd be very nice to him. I'd be very, very friendly, but I'd be like, Jesus, Ole, the very fact that you cut such a forlorn figure on the sideline, that alone is enough to make your players not give a shit, mate. What's that about? Like, body language is so important. So, like, okay, I know we slagged off David Moyes, we slagged off ultimately. Well, I didn't slag off Mourinho because I love Mourinho, and we slagged off Van Gaal. But geez, lads, any of them on the sideline, they were there and they were shouting and bawling at players. When a player needed a bollocking, you could see on camera they were the first to give it. And even I know a lot of the fans were going in on Van Gaal sitting there on his colouring book colouring. But when he got frustrated, he was getting up, he was getting animated. I know what you're going to say, well, that doesn't make you a good manager. But Moyes apart, I take Moyes out of the equation. Like Van Gaal and Jose, they actually won cups, lads. And I suppose that's how low Jordan and I are today.
Yeah.
We are trying to extrapolate the best bits of boring Van Gaal ball that won an FA Cup, and Mourinho, who lost the dressing room, but won Europa League and won a Carabao Cup. And we're looking at the positives of those reigns, because the current reign of our manager is so lackluster and piss poor, even though he has been given the tools. I don't care. I don't want to hear bullshit about CDM. Solskjaer has been given the tools. The difference is he is inept at utilizing them properly.
Yeah. Do you know what, Jay? I could sit here and rant all day and listen to you all day. There's nothing more I'd love to do. But we've got Beth, Adam, Kev, all at the game with vlogs that need to go out for you guys to see their opinions. So we're going to stop now and let you guys see what everyone else has had to say outside the ground. But the tide is definitely changing from what I'm seeing in the comments and hearing and seeing on Twitter. So guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you from me and Jay. Jay?
Look, Jordan, you summed it up, mate. I've got nothing to add. Nothing to add. I'm going to focus on tonight's big fight. That's it for me.
Thanks, guys.